I think given somewhat the conceptual nature of those alignments, I think it's reasonably strong enough to talk about the longer range transportation planning and the relative density of development that you would expect to see under this is probably not so intense that it would preclude any potential avenue for a roadway to be extended. I think Les did make some comments about consideration underneath the section that Gary displayed before about the new parcel that talked about the protection of ag land or natural resources and others, and requested whether planned roadways as shown on other adopted transportation plans. I think the county was hesitant. I think to really, at least county staff was somewhat hesitant to suggest that could be incorporated if that's something that the council wished to suggest as a very specific recommendation for an amendment. It seemed like the primary focus was looking at trying to not adopt this in those areas or delay its adoption until the area of impact that could be considered for expansion that would protect the areas where those roadways are located within, not necessarily looking for amendments to it in its current form to allow it to proceed. So I think in the general context of what's being discussed as long-range transportation planning and really trying to talk about whether the county and the city can come together in some fashion to either allow that buffer area or to potentially consider expansion of the area city impact boundary would probably, we didn't need to get that specific in the letter.
Madam Mayor, we threw the buffer area out and it hit a wall with the staff and the members of the County Planning Commission that were present. I'm not, personally don't believe that it's going to be any better received by the county commissioners. I would propose, you ask about language, I would propose that in the last line of the first paragraph of number 1 on page 1 of the letter, increased difficulty of long-range street extensions and transportation planning. And possibly that would get the county commissioners to say, show us what you mean, or something to that effect. So I would add the 2 words street extensions after long range, the street extensions and after long range, and leave transportation in there, transportation planning in there as well. And then if I may, a second thing, Gary, on page 2, the end of the 3rd paragraph from the end, you have a sentence that it is appropriate to review the ACI at this time as the ACI has not been reviewed, etc.
Yes.
That is that the city attorney's a city attorney pointing out what state code is and the fact that they're allowing us to start discussions with them about the area of impact is pertinent, if not imminent?
It is the city attorney's advice to the council that the law is that we will meet with the county no less than every 10 years to renegotiate the area of city impact. Just reminding the county that that this meeting is imminent and asking, I guess, that we meet ahead of time before this ordinance is enacted.
Do we need to say the latter? I don't think that's in here. It's inferred.
Certainly
but
can.
Where I'm coming from,
Be direct.
Mayor, is being a little more direct while being polite about it. But we asked the county commissioners to come to the workshop. They declined. I think it was a productive meeting anyway, but they haven't heard this and didn't hear the questions we asked and the points we attempted to make. So if this letter is what's going into the record with them, I think it's our one shot at trying to get their attention.
So if I may.
Please.
So your intent then is to make a direct request that we meet now to renegotiate the area of city impact agreement.
Or meet prior to the inaction of the proposed ordinance.
Certainly.
Yeah.
I think yes. I think
Certainly
now
do that.
is good, or before they enact.
When I did the editing on this, the few changes I made, I underlined that sentence. I don't know if underlining is too strong a thing to do in a letter like this or not.
I think you got to put it in bold. Okay. So, Tom?
I just want to ask the question, does the letter on the dice here, is this the one after Walter and Kevin made some editing suggestions via email?
Yes.
I didn't see all of those adopted, and you, okay, so others, because I thought that those edits that I had seen in circulation
They are
were
here.
good ones, so they should be
They
incorporated.
are
They are
And
incorporated.
I didn't see the underline,
The underlining was not picked up.
and Walter's name's been changed.
Yeah, well,
Walter Street. He's not on council, so we should make sure that we make sure Wally Street's not the one that signs this.
So what would you recommend regarding the underlining and or bolding of some part of the present sentence or the additional sentence you're going to put on here?
I believe the direct approach, if the direction from the council is to directly request the county to meet with us to renegotiate the area of city impact prior to enacting this ordinance, then I would suggest that we ask that directly. I don't think underlining or bolding is going to add anything to it. I think the direct request is what's going to be most effective.
something to the effect, please be advised that the city intends to
Or ask it in the letter.
Yeah,
Yes.
schedule an appointment.
yeah,
At
okay.
mutually agreeable time to discuss this prior to whatever.
something like that.
Okay?
And then if I may, one last thing.
Please, uh-huh.
You and Gary, I'll let you get your note written there. And you and Bill, after the workshop, were talking about, I think, two specific pieces of property that have large acreage owned by single property owners that have previously indicated to the city some development of their property at some unknown future date.
Yes.
Those are not called out in here. I was thinking that they might be, so that we wouldn't scare the county by saying we want to negotiate the whole thing except where it hits the state of Washington line. If we're really looking at those 1,200, whatever you said, 1,200-foot areas, or
I understand what you're saying.
in other words, yeah, tell them we want to meet now, but at the same time say, we mainly want to talk about a couple of areas, don't limit it to that, but indicate to them don't indicate to them that we're attempting to expand three sides of this area of impact, which I don't think y'all are talking about.
Certainly, we could add that.
Okay, that's all I've got. Thank you.
Okay. Other recommendations for this letter?
No, I'm fine.
I think that's good. I like the direct request.
Okay, with those changes, does somebody want to make a motion for authorization of myself and the council president to sign this
As amended.
as amended?
I would make that motion that we prepare this letter as amended.
Second.
Okay.
One
Tom's
question
motion,
I have.
Sue's second.
One question I have
Go
is,
ahead,
do you
Tom.
want just the two signatures, or do you want all of us to sign it? I'd be willing to sign it if the body wants more signatures on it.
Council's prerogative. Do you want to amend your motion and see how it goes? Or just ask?
Well, I'm
for
just
some
asking,
consensus?
if we want it, if willing, we could have more
Well,
signatures
it has
on
to be there before tomorrow.
Oh, we just
so
have to get in
whatever
here
goes
tomorrow and all
fastest.
sign. Can we all do, I mean,
Mine's on file.
What do you think, Gary? Better, worse, makes no difference, what?
I
I think you'd have to add another page.
We can do that. Certainly, if each council member wants to sign it, that's appropriate as well. We can have it ready. I would suggest that probably we'll need people in here by 10 o'clock
all right,
so that we can get it
Put 'em all-
delivered.
Put everybody on.
I'm ready to do it.
Okay.
Okay,
I just didn't
So
want
we
to
have a
have
motion.
Is that part of the motion?
Yes.
Sure. If it helps get us here by 10 in the morning, I don't
Okay.
care. I just want to make sure there's not a gap.
and that's good with you,
That's all
Sue?
I'm-
Yep.
Okay,
And,
motion and a
and
second.
Tim
Any
said he
other
was too.
discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll start the roll call vote with you, Tim.
Aye.
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 The motion
When will the letter
carries.
be ready to sign?
Yeah, because I'd like
Ready
to sign
by
it.
10 o'clock.
Oh, okay, that late, huh?
Can it be earlier?
Well, we have,
Thank you, Susan. Thank you,
guess I
Art.
could
We
get here
appreciate
early
your
and
staying.
redraft it.
Okay.
Do you need me to come in? Because I think some of us you have our signature on file.
Yeah, original signatures are nice if we can do them.
Probably has it, I don't.
I believe if it's going to be signed, it should be signed originally and
All right,
not
I'll
with a
show it.
computer-generated signature.
Okay.
Or we could just forward.
Mine's hard to forward.